Okay, we're in call to order the meeting of the Park Committee for Wednesday, March 29th, 2017 at 4 p.m. Present are Alderman Andy Nicholson, John Vanderleest, and myself, David Zenig. Alderman Weary is excused this evening. So the first thing would be approval of minutes of the meeting, March 1st. A motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Adoption of the agenda, is there any additions or corrections anyone has? Okay, then we'll take a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Andy Nicholson, seconded by John Vanderleest to adopt the agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First item, consideration with possible action on amending section 25.04 of the Green Bay Municipal Code to allow unleashed dogs in the proposed dog exercise area at Whitney Park. We talked about this dog park at the last meeting, and now we have some regulations. You want to walk us through it?
Yes, as Alderman Nenning just indicated, we did talk about this at the last meeting. The city bonded also $15,000 for this project in 2015, and planning for this project has already begun. In order for the dog exercise area to be constructed, section 25.04 of the Green Bay Municipal Code relating to conduct in parks in Green Bay is what would have to be modified. Currently, the ordinance states that dogs are prohibited in all city parks, as well as the farmers market, Bay Beach, and the wildlife sanctuary. The proposed dog exercise area would be fenced in area in Whitney Park where owners can bring their dogs, let them off the leash. The proposed ordinance modification allows dogs to be off the leash is written specifically only to Whitney Park for the exercise area. For all the other park locations, all the ordinance's language remains the same, it still applies. Attorney Falls is here to discuss any of those changes with the ordinance if you have any questions.
Okay, Andy.
I got a number of questions. Okay, is this going to be fenced in?
Yes.
Okay, how high is the fence going to be?
Yeah.
It'll be a minimum of 4 feet.
Okay, do we know what the fence will be?
It'll be chain link, probably black chain link.
Okay, but how high?
4 feet is the minimum that's recommended for dog runs.
Okay, so is it going to be 4 feet?
Yes.
Yes.
that's
Okay,
the
what
plan.
happens if dogs jump over that? What do we do then?
Well, we'd have to deal with it. We'd have to, deal with the situation. And then, do we have a situation where dogs jump on?
If there's a preference to go with a 5-foot tall fence instead to help
Yeah.
prevent it, we can look at that. We have read all the guidelines from other dog park designs. We've researched it and we found that 4 feet is adequate for the minimum height. But if there's a concern of that happening, we can easily make it 5 feet instead.
Okay, and then dogs are going to run freely. What happens if dogs are mauling each other? Is it our responsibility?
I guess I can answer.
Okay.
Just Assistant City Attorney Joe Falls to answer that question. So we do have an ordinance that a dog owner is legally responsible for his or her dog and any injuries caused by the dog. And I'm presuming, this is from the city of De Pere, a sign that you'd have outside of the dog park that would list the rules and regulations. And my assumption is that we're going to have a sign similar to this. And then at the bottom, it will say something to the sort that the owner is waiving any liability against the city for any injuries or property damage with their dog. So, and then in the statutes as well, if you're a dog owner and your dog injures another person, the owner of the dog is responsible for the liability of the dog. So that would go to the owner and not the city.
Okay, and we're okay with that? That's for sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, Joe, we don't have any liability with this?
Yeah, I would say there's not.
Okay. What happens with dog dirt then? Who picks that up?
Oh, that would be the owner's responsibility as well, and would be in the rules and in the ordinance as well.
Okay, and if they don't, then what?
I think the regulations, we could cite them based on the violations of the rules, or we could, if they continue to violate the rules, they could be removed from using the dog park.
Okay, are we gonna have staff on site?
We will have staff on site sometimes. For example,
Okay.
during our playground program,
Okay,
we would have staff on site. We have park maintenance that visits the park every day.
okay. And then, well, I'm just trying to ask questions like worst case scenario, we don't have staff on site and we got issues, police?
Then our park maintenance people will be responsible for picking that up. They'll clean
Okay,
that up
that's,
every day.
that's what, okay, that was my
Yes.
question.
Whoever goes, the caretaker that goes to the park that day will be responsible for checking that
Okay.
area as well.
And then 7 days a week, this is gonna be open?
Yes.
Okay, from what to what roughly?
Well,
Is it gonna vary or?
I don't think we've set the hours yet.
Okay,
Yeah, I think my assumption was that it would run with the hours of the parks.
Yes,
So if we.
okay.
have to,
Are we,
because it's
are we gonna have lighting? We should, are we gonna have lighting?
There will be some indirect lighting. We're putting with the new light poles that are gonna be installed in the
Right.
park, there's actually 2 in close proximity and they're area lights, so there will be indirect lighting shining down into it.
Okay, and then is there gonna be like toys or jumping through anything or
They're in
for the dogs?
The plan that we showed you at the last park committee
Right, refresh
showed
my
a few
memory.
areas there where we could do it if there's funding that allows it.
Okay,
And
that
the
could be
first
down the
step-
road
Yeah,
then.
the first
Not-
step will
not the-
really only have funding for the fencing, some concrete slabs for people to gather, and probably a doggy drinking fountain and the
Okay.
signage and stuff like that, just the
Okay.
basics.
Is it gonna be grassy area, I'm guessing?
It's gonna start out grass. If there is a lot of dogs in there, the grass might fail, and so we
Correct.
would have to switch it over to wood chips at that time.
Okay, because I know dogs,
Mm-hmm.
what they do is kills grass.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if we're gonna be repeating to grow grass or basically, like you stated, have wood chips and then just
We're not-
eliminate the problem.
If we find that it's not successful, we're just gonna switch over to wood chips instead
Okay.
of trying to maintain grass.
Is there gonna be any fees?
No.
No fees. Residents of Green Bay only, or anybody in the whole country?
I guess that's how is the ordinance.
I think at this point, it does say the dog must be licensed, and I would, that's up, I guess, to the committee and the council. I would take that as a license with a municipality, or, you know.
City of Green Bay?
I would say any municipality, but that's up to your
Okay.
discretion.
We
How you
didn't
guys
put a
want to-
resident, non-resident on it for 2 reasons. Number one, we're not staffing it, so we wouldn't check it anyway. And secondly, what's the second one now?
We're not staffing what, Donnie?
We're not staffing it. We're not having a person just there watching the dog park itself.
I thought you said we were gonna have someone there
We
once
would
in a while.
have staff throughout the whole park, but not, directly sitting at the dog run
Okay.
station.
Okay,
Okay, and so we don't charge fees, so.
I think the way I'd look at it is if something happened at the dog park where they're violating an ordinance, and then it was determined that the dog was not licensed with the city of Green Bay or any other municipality, then they'd be in violation of this ordinance, and that'd be a citation that would go along with it. But like if someone's in there and the dog isn't licensed and nothing goes wrong, we're not gonna, I don't think, check to see if it is.
Okay. okay, let's just, here's another scenario. Saturday, Sunday, something happens. Who do we get a hold of? I mean, who do they call?
They can call right to our park maintenance, to Keith.
Okay, on a Sunday?
Yeah, we
Okay.
always have our phones on 24/7.
Okay, so
So-
will your phone be, will they be able to, how are they gonna find out about your phone number?
Anybody who knows the park or the police, they all have our phone numbers.
Okay. So if there's a problem, you call the police first, and then the police will call you?
If you have a problem, you can call me directly.
But I'm just saying on a Sunday.
Yes, call me.
No, I'm talking about just a public citizen, Donnie.
Okay.
How would they get
Yeah,
a
well,
hold of you?
they could call the police department, and police would then contact who's ever on call for us.
Okay.
They have our call list for the
Okay, they call the
weekend.
front desk, and then
Yeah.
they can
Correct,
communicate with your staff then?
correct.
Okay, I'm done with questions,
And
thanks.
if I can just qualify one answer I gave you as well with the liability, if something does happen in the dog park, we can't control if someone names the city as a defendant, but what I'm saying is the state statute says that the owner or the harbor of the dog is responsible, and the city is not the owner or harbor of the dogs that come in here. That's
Okay.
where there's no liability.
Okay. I mean, people can still make claims, go to
Yes.
your office and.
But they go through
Taken
the
care
claims
of.
procedure, yeah.
Okay, I'm done with questions, Dave.
John, did you have any questions?
I'd say I favor the dog park. I think it'll be a good fit for the area. There are people that have I have a bulldog myself, and there's a few people I see got bulldogs and they're walking over there already, so it'll just be a little bit of a, nice for the citizens in this area.
Yeah.
I support it.
I had just a couple of questions myself. What are we doing in the winter? Are we just going to let dogs run in the snow, or are there plans to deal with it?
Yeah, we'll just let them run around in the snow.
Okay.
We'll shovel the area, the fence going into it, and the gated area so people can get into it.
Okay.
But once they're in there, it's like a backyard,
Yeah.
snow.
Okay, and the other thing that I did have a question about on 4J, when it talks about the owner or handler may not use a choke, pinch, spike, or training collar. I was a little surprised that we had training collar in there. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, I think I probably saw that from a different municipality, and to be honest, I'm a little surprised training colors on there as well. I think that's, I'm not an expert in handling the dogs or anything, but I don't even know how you classify a training collar, but I think if I looked at those four, that probably would be the one that maybe could take off.
Yeah, I've seen people in dog parks, with the training collars on them, and they try to control their dogs to get them to do tricks and things with the training collars, so, I don't know. What do you folks think?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Are you fine with that?
Take that
Yeah, I'm
one?
okay with that, and maybe replace them with like a muzzle might be one too. Maybe not want to have a dog with a muzzle on there, it could be, that's,
Yeah, although, if somebody puts a muzzle on their dog,
that I can't.
it's probably not not gonna cause a problem. Sometimes
so-
people do that just for the safety.
More of a preventive
Yeah,
type.
preventative thing.
Yeah, so that training collar could be taken off there, and I guess if there's a motion to approve this, just have a motion as.
Sure, with that change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion, anyone?
I do, Dave.
Andy?
What's the square footage? I mean, are we gonna have a capacity of how many dogs?
I don't have the map in front of me. It shows the square footage on the map. I didn't
Okay.
bring the plan, but.
I mean, I got an idea of the park in my mind. What, is it half the park?
No, it's not
No.
gonna be that area. The area we're talking about is north of the shelter. There's like a grass
Right.
space in between Main Street and the shelter.
Right.
It
That
would be
was on the
that
map,
area
right?
over
That you
there.
showed us, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the question I have is, why wouldn't we want just Green Bay residents? I mean, this city's 100,000 people. There's a lot of dogs. I mean, do we have enough room for people from Alloway to Pure? I'm just kind of curious about that. Right,
Yeah, I mean, this will be a small dog exercise area. It's not
Right.
a traditional dog park where, big expansive running area. It can only, handle so many dogs and so many people. We can look at putting a capacity to it, but as far as whether or not we, allow non-residents, I guess we'd have to have more discussion on that, and how would we enforce that?
right, and if we're not charging any type of fee and we're basically eating the cost, which isn't much, but, there is some labor to it. I'd like to hear that from the committee. I mean, I would be in favor of residents only.
Okay, Alderman Scannell, did you have some comment?
Yeah, if I may.
I think that's your district, right?
Yeah, it's my district, yeah. This is going to be a small dog run, so I don't really think people are going to be coming from all over to use it like you would a normal dog park. It's
Okay.
really a neighborhood kind of thing. And if you have a friend visiting from out of town with a neighborhood that's got a dog, it really is a neighborhood park and the idea is to have a neighborhood spot for neighborhood dogs to run. I really don't think you're going to have to worry about people coming from out of the area just to bring their dog to run there. It's too small for that kind of thing.
Okay.
They're not really going to be, it's really neighborhood.
That's that was my question. I mean, it's not a very large, and I'm just, I mean, how many dog parks are there in the area?
Well, there are some pretty elaborate dog parks in
Is
some
there?
of the suburbs,
Okay.
Yeah, and they're quite large.
Yeah.
They are, okay,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
unaware of that. I'm just
Yeah, I know.
concerned if we have too many dogs there. I mean, shouldn't we just have the residents? But I mean, if,
Yeah, I really don't think we have to worry about people bringing their dog there for that purpose.
I suppose if we do have too many dogs and too many people,
then
we can
address
always,
it. But I really don't think it's gonna be.
okay,
It really is for the neighborhood.
that's fine. I was just
Yep,
curious.
yep.
Okay, thank you.
I'm done.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, can we entertain a motion to approve?
Motion to
it
approve.
With that one change to take out training time? Okay, motion by Alderman Nicholson, seconded by Alderman Vanderleest. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. That brings us to number 2, consideration with possible action on hiring an architect to design 2 concession areas at Bay Beach Amusement Park.
Okay, at our January 25th, 2017 Park Committee, we approved the projects selected for funding for the 2017 Bay Beach Fund. One approved project included constructing a new concession building with a seating plaza in the middle. A second approved project was to renovate one half of the train depot into an ice cream fudge shop. Park staff sent out requests for proposals to 6 different architectural firms to design both the concession areas. The scope of the work included 3 phases: conceptual design, final construction plans and specifications, and project supervision throughout the construction period. It is anticipated that the construction would begin in the fall of 2017, and the 2 concession areas would hopefully be open for the 2018 season. Only one proposal was received. Dimension 4 quoted $56,944 for all 3 phases of the design. The remaining 5 architectural firms did not respond. They said they were too busy and could not take on any additional projects at this time. The Parks Department, we're not concerned with Dimensional 4, and we've dealt with them in the past, and we found them to be very qualified. And any questions?
Motion to approve.
I just had one quick question.
Okay.
So the money is already allocated then?
The money would come out of the Bay Beach Fund.
Would come out of the baby fund?
Yeah,
I support that.
okay.
Okay, I think if we're going to proceed, we've got to have the architect and bid it out, so that's what we got. Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Nicholson, seconded by Alderman Vanderleest to approve. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Which brings us to the report of the purchasing manager. Rick?
Can I just start
Yeah,
out, Rick?
you bet.
Okay. All right, in 2015, the city bonded to replace the playgrounds at Kennedy and Atkinson Park. In 2016, the city bonded to replace playgrounds at Wilder. The budget to purchase the playground equipment for Atkinson and Wilder Park is $55,000 for each park. At Wilder Park, we did give the vendors the option to theme the playground for Laura Wilder, after who the park and school is named. Nearly all the playground equipment would be replaced at both parks. The playground replacement budget for Kennedy Park was $30,000. The budget for Kennedy is lower because in 2016, we worked with the Green Bay Packers, and they already did half of the playground for us.
This is what was installed at Kennedy by the Packers.
Oh,
Okay. Since we already have a lot of climbing structures, as you can see by this, we ask that the playground suppliers focus on more of the decks, the slides, than the climbing structures to accommodate the younger children. We also requested quotes to purchase 7 teeter-totters to replace some teeter-totters throughout the park. Rick, you can summarize.
I'm really going to let staff explain the highlights of this. Purchasing was involved in issuing the RFP. We announced our budget to the proposers. The goal is to get the most we can for the money that's allocated for these positions. I have the results of the RFP in front of you on the spreadsheet. Each line is or each rectangle is one of the parks. And in all cases, we awarded to the highest scoring proposer in concept of the creativity, the play value, the number of components, etc. Cost wasn't scored because the budget was divulged ahead of time.
And we do have
I did include images of each playground that was selected, but if you want to stop by and take a look at these either during the meeting or after the meeting, you can take a look at them. We do have blow-ups, and these are the same graphics that you have in your agenda packet. And this is Wilder, then behind it, I guess we'll start with Wilder. The playground that was selected was a theme playground. Several vendors didn't go with the theming option, but this one scored the highest, and it is themed for Laura Ingalls Wilder based on the name of the park and the school. There's a lot of elements relating to that theming as part of this, which just makes it fun and attractive. So, Kennedy, as we mentioned, half of the playground has already been installed by the Packers. Now that one was a lot of upper body strength playground equipment meant for ages 5 to 12. So what we asked the playground manufacturers to quote on is something more of a traditional playground with decks and slides, something that younger kids could climb on and play on, because they can't really, the younger kids ages 2 to 5 can't really play on the structure that the Packers donated. So as we mentioned, the budget for this one was a little bit less because of that. The half of the playground is there. And then this one is Atkinson. And again, this is, all of these playgrounds will accommodate all age groups from 2 to 12. And you know, this one has a little net structure, which we don't have in any of our other parks, so it's a nice feature. A little bit unique compared to what we've seen elsewhere. So if you have any questions on the designs or anything else, just let me know, or if you want to come up and look at these more.
Yeah, I think we all had it ahead of time. Are there any questions about it? No? And anyone else? It looks like they're well-designed and very functional playground equipment, so within the budget, so we'll entertain a motion by Alderman Vanderleest, seconded by Alderman Nicholson, to approve the playground equipment as recommended. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Director's report, Johnny.
Okay, on March 22nd, our department held its annual safety blitz with our full-time staff. Liability claims, preventing shoulder injuries, department policies and procedures, workman's comp, tool, cat, bobcat, and backhoe forklifting training all occurred on that day. We're really trying to get our employees trained to the max so we can lower some of our workman's comp claims. So it was a very productive day. We had a really good staff response, and hopefully it'll help us in the long run. And this trail clearing is also happening. We had those strong winds a couple of weeks ago. We had a lot of the trees fall over the trail over in that area. So the forestry crews have been working really hard to get that all cleared up. The boat rides at Bay Beach will have a new book. The ride has been re-welded. It's in the process of getting new paint and new graphics, and we think the kids will be pretty excited with the boats and what they'll look like. So they'll look like pretty much a new ride, and they'll have fun with it. Dre is finalizing the 4 concepts, as you know, at the pool. We hope to have those hopefully by even the end of this week or early next week. So once we receive these, we'll review the plans. When completed, we'll present them to a neighborhood meeting and then bring them on to the park committee and to the city council. Staff is working on a conceptual design for the trail section between Irwin Street and Baird Street. And Patrick Engineering continues to work on a preliminary beach concept, pier, boardwalk. Ongoing discussions with the DNR are going on because, you know, there's a lot of permits that have to be obtained. And we're just gathering information at this point to figure out what we all need and what we need to make the project go forward. We began putting the rides up already at Bay Beach, and we'd like to give a big thank you to the Friends of the Wildlife Sanctuary for purchasing all the new tile for the floors in the Nature Center kitchen and the woodland room. So that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Did we hear anything about the grant for the kayak launch?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. Okay, any questions?
Motion to receive and place on file.
Okay, we have a motion to receive and place in file the director's report. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn by Alderman Nicholson, seconded by Alderman Vanderleest. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.